I was 26, and 2 weeks into my dream internship when New York finally learned my name. Not in the good way. But I'm getting ahead of myself. My name is Nina Blake. I grew up in Tucson, learned to talk fast and think faster, and then I sprinted east with a degree, a thrifted blazer, and a portfolio full of ideas that looked like neon post-its. Loud, sticky, impossible to ignore. The city felt like a dare. It was early fall, the kind of September that pretends to be summer. I would cross Lexington every morning with iced coffee, sweating through the paper sleeve, earbuds in, city noise turned down to a polite hum. I loved those 6 blocks to 41st, where the building glass mirrored the sky and made me feel like I was walking into something bigger than me. I was the PR intern. Which really meant two things. I would get blamed for the mess, and if the campaign worked, I'd get to staple the press clippings. I didn't mind. I was hungry. Blake, my supervisor, Colin, would say, snapping his fingers like he was trying to catch a fly. You're quick. I like quick. Thanks, I'd answer. I smiled for my rent. The first week, Colin asked me to sit in on a client brainstorm. The room was too cold and too white, like an Apple store with anxiety. We were launching a clean beauty line. Someone pitched authenticity. Someone else pitched disruption. I pitched a pop-up confession booth where people could anonymously admit the weird things they do to feel beautiful. Colin leaned back, teeth bright. There she is. It felt like sunlight, and then it didn't. The shift was so small it was almost polite. A hand on my chair when he stood behind me, too close to read my screen. A laugh that landed on my shoulder. Comments like, confetti light, constant, everywhere. You're photogenic, Blake. That'll help here. You're intense. Men love that until they don't. You wear that blazer like you want a promotion. I'd deflect. Shrug. Pretend I didn't care, but I started taking the long way around his office. I started wearing headphones with no music. On Wednesday of week 2, he called me in after 5. The office had thinned out, the city already trading ties for gym bags. Close the door, he said. My stomach did that elevator drop. He paced for a second, then flashed that smile, the brand he pitched to clients and interns and anyone who could make his numbers glow. Look, Nina, you're talented. I can help you here. But you've got to be smart about politics. I am, I said. That's why I'm in PR. He chuckled. Cute. Silence expanded between us like new construction. Then the ask. The favor, not the kind you can put in an email. Drinks with a client late. Off the books. It'll go faster if you come, he added, eyes pinning me to the leather chair. You soften the room, my mouth said. I'm not comfortable with that. My brain said, say no, cleaner. My heart said, run. He waved a hand like I was being dramatic. It's networking. It's not my job, I said. His smile shrank. The room got colder. You want this place to want you, right? I wanted better, more than I wanted belonging. I want to do my job well, I said. Boundaries help with that. There was a beat where I felt the shape of the rest of my life tilt. He leaned in, voice flattening. Don't be difficult, Blake. I went home and told my roommate, Tessa, the version that was mostly facts and not a lot of feeling. She's a law student, which means she speaks fluent precedent. Document everything, she said, pushing a neon sticky note toward me. And Nina? Don't let him name this. So I started a folder. Times, places, words. Thursday, 9:13 a.m. Take a selfie with the mock-up. We'll leak it. Friday, 4:42 p.m. Monday, 7:06 p.m. Door closed. You owe me one. And yeah, I hit record when I could. The law about recording in New York? One-party consent. Thanks, Tessa. On the 12th day, I typed an email to HR. It was measured, professional, the kind of paragraph that could survive a subpoena. I attached notes. I offered to talk. Send, silence. Which is not nothing. Silence is strategy. I got a meeting the next week. HR's conference room smelled like stale coffee and fear. The HR rep Regina, early 40s, cardigan that said, We are reasonable here. Smiled and used my name a lot. Thank you for speaking up, Nina. We take this very seriously, Nina. If at any point you feel uncomfortable, Nina. I played the recording. The room turned into glass. Regina's pen stopped moving. She shot a look I wasn't supposed to see, then nodded too emphatically. We'll handle it from here. I walked back to my desk like I'd just handed in a quiz. I aced. That night, Colin didn't look at me, which felt like relief until it didn't, because by Friday, the little things began to break in my hands. My calendar invites disappeared. I was left off email threads. Quick favor assignments turned into, why wasn't this done? Traps. A senior associate accidentally scheduled a client call at 7 a.m. and then apologized to everyone but me. I rechecked my work until the numbers blurred. I sent myself PDFs of everything. I CC'd myself on the world. On Monday, I found a sticky note on my desk, not in Colin's handwriting. 3 words, all caps. Be nice, Blake. I took a photo and laughed because the alternatives were crying or screaming. Both of those were feminine, unserious. My laugh sounded like a bark. The HR follow-up came in on a Tuesday afternoon. Regina asked me to pop in. Colin was already there. So was a person I'd never met before. Someone with a title longer than a sentence. Legal. Saturday. I folded my hands. I tried to mimic calm. Regina's smile was gone. We reviewed your concerns, Nina, she said, voice soft with the kind of empathy that comes prepackaged. While we appreciate your perspective, we didn't find evidence of misconduct. However, we did notice some performance issues that have raised concerns at the senior level. That word, however, landed like a desk. I'm sorry. What? My mouth moved before I could coach it. Colin looked at me then. Not it through. This isn't working, Blake. Legal cleared her throat. Effective immediately, we're ending your internship. We'll compensate you for the remainder of the week and provide a neutral reference. Neutral reference. I heard it like a joke with no punchline. I reported harassment, I said, and now I'm being fired. Our decision is based on performance, Regina said, a script in human shape. We wish you the best. The building's elevator had mirrors on 3 sides. I saw myself reflected into infinity, each Nina a little more stunned than the last. I stared at the version 2 feet to my left and thought, do not cry here. Cry outside. Cry when you can buy a cookie and text your mother and say you're fine. I stepped onto 41st, and the city was the same, and I was not. My phone buzzed. I looked down and saw a new email subject line, reference check. It wasn't from my new applications. It was from a firm I hadn't even applied to yet. Forwarded from an acquaintance. Hi, passing this along. Thought you should see. The forwarded email was from someone at my old agency, the one I had just exited through a revolving glass door. It was a short reply to a casual inquiry about me. Would advise against. Difficult. Not a cultural fit. Thanks for watching. I read it again. Difficult. Not a cultural fit. 2 weeks in New York. 12 days of effort that tasted like coffee and ambition. 1 report, 1 meeting, 1 firing, and already my name was a caution sign. I went home to our 6th floor walk-up and climbed the stairs like they were a mountain they'd moved overnight. Tessa was at the kitchen table with flashcards. She saw my face and closed her book. Say it, she said. They fired me. She was silent for a beat that meant she was choosing words that wouldn't make it worse. Okay, we'll appeal. We'll contact the state. No, I said. My voice surprised me. It was steady, like a line drawn in permanent marker. They'll make it a performance thing. They already started whispering. Tessa slid a glass of water toward me, like I was a plant she could save. What do you want to do? What did I want? I wanted my rent paid. I wanted a job that didn't require armor. I wanted a city that could keep its promises. But more than any of that, I wanted the truth to be louder than their version. I have the recordings, I said. The texts, the calendar changes, the sticky note, every little thing they thought was nothing. Tessa nodded slowly. You could file a complaint with the state, or you could go public. The word public made my chest sting. I knew the game. Reputation is a currency. Once you spend it, the city remembers the receipt. But I had nothing left they hadn't already taken. I opened my laptop. The screen lit my face like a campfire. I created a folder named For Light. I dragged files into it, audio clips labeled with dates, screenshots with the times circled, emails DM'd from friends of friends, the reference that wasn't neutral at all. I wrote. Not a press release, not a manifesto. A story. The story. What happened, when, what I did, how they answered. I kept adjectives to a minimum and timestamps to a maximum. I pasted the receipts. Then I paused. My thumb hovered over the trackpad. Once I did this, there was no unsend. No day I could walk quietly back through their doors. No version of me who didn't become a problem. Are you sure? Tessa asked. Her voice was soft, not warning witness. Ask me again in a different life, I said. I pulled up the site. Not Twitter, not Instagram, not TikTok. I didn't want a feed. I wanted a record. I made a medium-length post on a platform built for words and evidence. I took a breath, and the front door of our apartment rattled. We never used the front door after 7. The lock sticks. It keeps neighbors out and secrets in. I froze. Tessa stood, eyes sharp. The door banged again. A third time, harder. Then a voice, too familiar, slippery with charm even through wood. Nina? It's Colin. We should talk. I stared at the door like it could explain physics. How did he find my address? Tessa mouthed. Don't. He knocked again, twice, hard enough to jar the picture frames. Open up, he said, his voice lower now, different. Let's be adults. On my screen, the cursor blinked against the word, publish. My heart pounded in my throat. Through the door, his voice softened. He was right, but he didn't know me. I moved my finger, and then, the doorknob turned. The doorknob rattled again, then it stopped. Silence stretched across the apartment, heavy and electric. Tessa mouthed, call the police, but I didn't move. Every cell in my body was split between fight, flight, and click. That little blinking cursor was still on my screen. Publish. Colin's voice came through the door again, lower this time, almost coaxing. Nina, you made a mistake. Let me in. We can fix this quietly. Fix this. That phrase hit me like deja vu, because that's what they always say, when they've already decided who's getting fixed and who's getting erased. I inhaled once, deep enough to feel it hurt. Then my finger pressed the trackpad. Click. A small confirmation box appeared. Post successfully published. That sound, that tiny notification ping, was the loudest noise I'd ever heard. Tessa's eyes widened. You, actually. Before she could finish, Colin banged the door one last time. A sharp, frustrated slam that shook the hallway. Then silence again. We waited, motionless, until we heard footsteps fading down the stairwell. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely lock the deadbolt. And then the adrenaline crashed all at once. Nausea, tears I didn't remember starting, breath that came in pieces. Tessa grabbed my shoulders. Hey, you did it. It's done. I nodded, but my stomach didn't believe it. Because I knew what came next. PR is about control, about framing, about narrative, and I had just rewritten theirs. By morning, I was trending. Not the fun kind of trending, not look at this clever intern exposing corruption. More like PR girl burns bridge, lights match. I woke to 300 notifications and 3 missed calls from unknown numbers. Tessa handed me coffee like a medic at a battlefield. You're viral, babe. I scrolled. Headlines from small outlets first. Young PR intern alleges harassment, firing cover-up. Then bigger ones. Number Be Nice Blake goes viral after alleged harassment post. Someone had screenshotted the sticky note photo I'd included Be Nice Blake and turned it into a meme. By noon, I had half the internet calling me brave and the other half calling me a liar. That's how it goes online. Outrage is a currency, and everybody wants to spend it. At 2:07 p.m., I got an email from a journalist at the Herald. She said she'd been investigating similar complaints about the same agency mine. Wasn't the first report. just the first one with proof. She wanted to talk. I said yes. We met at a cafe near Bryant Park, the kind of place where everyone pretends not to eavesdrop. She was older, sharp eyes, steady voice, introduced herself as Leah. I read your post, she said, sipping her coffee. You kept it clean. No embellishments. I wanted facts to speak for themselves, I said. She nodded. They did. But I need to verify a few things. You said you recorded him? I handed her my phone. Everything's time-stamped. I also have email receipts. Leah's eyebrows lifted slightly. You were thorough. I almost laughed. I was scared. That quieted both of us for a second. She flipped through my files like a surgeon checking vitals. Then she looked up. You realize what happens when this goes wider, right? I knew. The internet forgets fast, but industries don't. I'd probably never work in PR again, at least not under my real name, but that didn't matter anymore. Leah leaned back. I can corroborate your story with 2 other women. If you're okay with it, we'll publish a feature, expose patterns, names. I hesitated. Will it help? She smiled, not reassuringly, but honestly. It might help the next one. That was enough. That night, Tessa and I watched the city lights blur through our window. Outside, New York hummed like nothing had changed. Inside, my phone buzzed with messages from strangers, some supportive, some venomous. One DM stood out. No name, no profile picture, just, you don't know who you're messing with. Tessa saw my face change. What? I showed her. She frowned. Block and screenshot. Always screenshot. She frowned. Always screenshot. I did. But a chill ran down my spine anyway, because I'd spent the whole day feeling powerful, like I'd taken back control. Now, I felt watched. 2 days later, the article dropped. Front page of the Herald Online. Inside the PR agency that silenced its interns. It wasn't just me anymore. 2 other women came forward, anonymously. Their stories matched mine: late meetings, inappropriate comments, retaliation after complaints. My post had opened the floodgates, and then the dominoes started falling. Sponsors began to pull contracts. The agency's name trended for all the wrong reasons. Colin's photo, the confident LinkedIn smile, circulated with words like predator and cover-up. I should have felt vindicated. But the internet doesn't celebrate you for long. They wanted a villain, sure, but they also wanted drama. By the next morning, conspiracy threads popped up accusing me of staging it for clout. She wanted attention. She's trying to ruin a man's life. She's just an intern, probably exaggerating. The comment section became a war zone I couldn't win. Tessa tried to pull me away from it. Stop doomscrolling. Let them eat themselves. But I couldn't. I kept refreshing. Like pain was a habit. I couldn't quit. Then I got a call. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something told me to answer. Miss Blake? The voice was formal, crisp. This is Detective Moran with NYPD. We received a report that you may be receiving threats related to your post. My throat tightened. Yes. A few messages. Why? There was also a break-in at your former office last night, he said. Someone vandalized Colin Fraser's desk. Your name was spray-painted on the window. What? Do you know anything about that? No, I said, too fast. I haven't been near there. I believe you, he said, but Mr. Fraser is claiming you're behind it. He's pressing for charges if evidence points your way. My pulse went wild. This is retaliation. He's trying to scare me. That's possible, Moran said. But it's going to get messy. I'd advise you to stay somewhere secure for a few days, Tessa mouthed. What's happening? I ended the call, my voice shaking. They're trying to frame me. That night, the apartment felt smaller, walls closer. Tessa double-checked the locks. I refreshed my notifications again, and that's when I saw it. A new anonymous account had tagged me in a post, a photo of me, taken that afternoon, on the street, outside the cafe where I'd met Leah. The caption read, "She thinks she won." My heart froze. Whoever it was, they were watching me. And if Colin was willing to destroy my career, what else would he do? Tessa came over, her voice low. Nina, Maybe we should leave the city for a bit. I stared at my screen, the photo still glowing. No. I'm not running. He wants me scared. I swallowed hard, anger starting to outweigh the fear. He ruined my job. He's not going to ruin my story. Tessa nodded. Then we fight smart. I didn't sleep that night. By 3 a.m., I was already planning the next move, not just defense, retaliation. Because if he wanted a war over truth, I was ready to give him one. But the next morning, before I could even open my laptop, my inbox exploded. Cease and desist letter. From the firm's lawyers, demanding I take everything down within 48 hours or face defamation charges. And attached was a file I didn't recognize. It was a recording of me, saying words I never said. Words that made it sound like I was flirting with him. Edited, spliced, fake, but if you didn't know better, you'd believe it. Tessa stared at the screen. Deep fake audio? I nodded slowly, breath leaving my body. He'd gone digital. He wasn't just erasing me now, he was rewriting me. And somewhere out there, a new narrative was already spreading. The one where I wasn't the victim anymore. I was the villain. The first time I heard that fake recording of myself, my stomach dropped so fast I thought I might pass out. It was me, my voice, my laugh, but warped, stretched into something I didn't recognize. I was flirting with Colin, thanking him for his guidance, suggesting I'd misunderstood the situation. It was slick, professional. Someone had edited it with surgical precision. I replayed it once, then again, then a third time, just to confirm that I wasn't losing my mind. Tessa slammed my laptop shut. Stop. You're just torturing yourself. I need to know what I'm up against. You're up against a sociopath with a media budget, she said. That's what you're up against. She wasn't wrong. Colin knew exactly where to hit credibility. Once that's gone, you're just noise in the algorithm. And he was winning. Within hours, the clip was everywhere. Anonymous accounts were sharing it under hashtags like #9alies and #fabricated feminism. The same journalists who'd championed me 2 days earlier started re-evaluating their pieces. Comments under my post were turning fast. She edited her own evidence. This whole thing's fake. She's trying to cancel him for clout. The world that had lifted me up was now tearing me apart in real time. Tessa threw her hands up. You can't just sit here and let them bury you. I'm not, I said quietly. I just need to think. Axis invadi. In stand cality. She looked at me, worried. Thinking won't undo a deepfake. Maybe not, but proof will. I started by pulling metadata. Every file I'd uploaded, every recording, every screenshot, I backed them all up on an external drive. Then another. Then cloud. Then I went through Colin's fake clip frame by frame. The pitch shifts were subtle, but the waveform told the truth. Someone had stitched pieces of my voice from different meetings, blending them with AI audio. I didn't have the money to hire a forensic analyst. But I did have something better. The internet. I posted a short, calm video on my account. Just me, no filter, no tears. There's a fake audio circulating, it's AI generated, and I can prove it. If anyone works in sound forensics, DM me. I'll send you everything. It wasn't a cry for sympathy. It was bait. And the internet loves a mystery. Within an hour, my DMs flooded. Most were trolls, sure. But one stood out, a username I recognized from Twitter, @BiteForJustice. A whistleblower tech account, known for exposing fake evidence in court cases. Their message was short. Send files. Don't delete anything. You're not crazy. 2 days later, I was sitting in a Brooklyn coffee shop, face to face with the person behind that account. Their name was Sam. Early 30s, hoodie, laptop covered in stickers about encryption and data privacy. You picked a hell of a fight, Sam said, plugging in headphones, but he picked the wrong nerd to fake. They analyzed the clip like a surgeon dissecting tissue. See this? Sam said, pointing to a jagged waveform. That's AI blending. It's not natural speech rhythm. Someone used text-to-speech trained on your voice. So you can prove it's fake? I asked. Easily, but proving who made it, that's trickier. Unless. They trailed off, eyes narrowing. Unless he was dumb enough to leave a digital fingerprint. Please tell me he was that dumb. Sam grinned. Oh, they're always that dumb. While Sam ran the analysis, I got a call from Leah, the journalist who'd broken the original story. Hey, she said, cautious. You holding up? Barely. I figured. Listen, I've seen the fake recording. We're working to verify your side. But the agency's lawyers sent us a statement. They're calling it fabricated accusations and hinting at a lawsuit. I let out a shaky laugh. Of course they are. I believe you, Leah said softly. But the court of public opinion moves faster than facts. If you've got anything solid, now's the time. I glanced at Sam, who was nodding at their laptop. Give me 24 hours, I said. You'll have proof. By the next morning, Sam had it. The fake audio had a hidden metadata tag, a trace from a private software account registered under an email domain, cfconsultingmedia.com. Colin Fraser's side business. Sam leaned back, satisfied. He used his own damn company's license. The arrogance is impressive. My hands trembled, a mix of relief and rage. So we can prove he created it? Oh, absolutely. You've got him. I exhaled, the first real breath in days. Then let's make it public. Sam hesitated. You sure? Once we drop this, it won't just ruin his career. It'll make him dangerous. He already is, I said. At least now he'll be exposed. We crafted a post together, clean, detailed, undeniable. Screenshots of the software metadata, the timestamps, Sam's expert report verifying the forgery. And at the end, this is the real recording. This is the fake one. Listen for yourself. No hashtags, no drama, just evidence. When I hit publish, it felt different this time, less like a scream, more like a scalpel. Within minutes, it exploded. Forensic experts started chiming in, confirming the findings. Journalists shared it. Hashtags flipped again, number justice for Nina replaced number Nina lies. And then the message requests came. Hundreds of them. Former interns. Former employees. Former victims. All with the same story. Colin had done this before. To them. To others. He hadn't just been a predator, he'd been protected. Leah called me that night, voice trembling with excitement. Nina, it's bigger than we thought. Multiple agencies, shared clients, hush agreements. He's part of a network covering for each other. I closed my eyes. Of course he is. We're going to need more than one article, she said. We're building a series. You in? I hesitated. If it means getting the others justice, yes. But just as relief started to settle in, my phone buzzed again. A blocked number. I almost ignored it, then curiosity won. I answered. A man's voice, low, mocking. You think you've won because of a few tweets and tech nerds? My spine stiffened. Colin, he chuckled. You have no idea how deep this goes, Blake. You just made enemies you can't even see. I have truth, I said. And receipts. Truth doesn't matter when you control perception, he said, voice turning cold. You of all people should know that. And then click. The call ended. Tessa, who'd been listening from across the room, whispered, "What did he say?" I stared at the wall, feeling a new kind of fear, not for my reputation this time, but for what came next. He said it's bigger than him. That night, I barely slept. Every sound outside the window made me flinch. Every notification felt like a threat. But one message stood out from an unknown email, encrypted. If you want proof of the cover-up, meet me tomorrow. 9 p.m. Washington Square Park, South Fountain. No name, no clue, just a promise of proof. Tessa grabbed my phone. You're not seriously considering that. I need to know, I said. Or it's a trap. Maybe, I said, pulling on my jacket. But if this goes deeper, someone has to pull the thread. She sighed, resigned. Then I'm coming with you. And that's how, the next night, we found ourselves standing under the glow of streetlights at Washington Square Park, the city humming around us, waiting for a stranger who might hold the key to everything, or lead us straight into the next betrayal. Washington Square Park felt different at night, the kind of different where every sound carries too far, and every face looks like a question. Tessa and I stood near the South Fountain, pretending to scroll our phones while my pulse tried to punch its way out of my chest. "Whoever this is," she whispered, "they're 30 minutes late." "I know. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe they chickened out. We can leave." But I couldn't leave. Not after everything. Not when someone said the word proof. Then, through the blur of streetlights and skateboarders, a figure approached hood up, hands in pockets. "Stay cool," Tessa murmured, stepping slightly in front of me. The person stopped a few feet away. Voice low, quick. "Nina Blake?" I nodded, wary. "Who's asking?" They pulled down their hood. A woman, maybe mid-30s. Pale, nervous eyes that flicked around like she was expecting someone to be watching. "My name's Mia," she said. "I used to work at your agency." I froze. "With Colin?" Her mouth tightened. "Under Colin." We sat on the edge of the fountain. She didn't meet my eyes at first, just kept twisting the strap of her bag. "I saw what happened to you," she said finally, "and I know you're telling the truth. He did the same to me and to others." "How high?" She leaned in. "There's a list." Tessa frowned. "A list of what?" "Names," Mia said. "People in PR firms across the city. Men who protect each other. Trade favors, suppress complaints. Blacklist anyone who talks." I felt my stomach tighten. "And you've seen it?" Mia nodded. "It's real." Colin kept a backup. "I was in HR. I found fragments once, hidden in archived folders. Code names, initials, payoffs. I tried to copy it, but I got caught. They buried me. I left New York." "So, why come back now?" I asked. She looked at me, then really looked at me. "Because you made noise. You made it impossible to ignore. And if you want to finish what you started, you need that list." The way she said need made my skin crawl. I tried to steady my voice. "Where is it?" She hesitated, then whispered. "Encrypted on a server linked to CF Consulting Media, Colin's private cloud. But you can't just hack in, they'll trace you." Tessa crossed her arms. "Okay, then what's the plan? You just happen to have a key?" Mia glanced around, then slid something from her bag, a small USB drive. "This isn't the list," she said. "It's a log file metadata that proves the server exists. My access credentials are embedded. It's a start." She pressed it into my palm. "Use it carefully. And Nina, once you open that door, you can't close it again." I stared at the drive. "Why give this to me?" Her lips trembled. "Because I couldn't stop them." "Maybe you can." A cold wind blew across the park. A street musician started playing guitar nearby, drowning out the quiet between us. When I looked up again, Mia was already walking away quick, like she didn't want to be seen leaving us. Tessa muttered. "That felt like a spy movie. Please tell me you're not planning to actually plug that thing in." "Not yet," I said. "But I'm not throwing it away either." Back at the apartment, the air felt heavy with secrets. We stared at the little USB drive sitting on the kitchen table, like it might detonate. "What if it's bait?" Tessa asked. "A virus, a setup, a trap. Or what if it's everything?" I countered. She sighed. "You really think one file can take down an entire network?" I looked at her, my exhaustion cracking into determination. "It doesn't have to take them all down, just enough to make the rest fall." The next morning, I met Sam at their co-working space, walls plastered with wires, monitors, and enough energy drinks to power a small city. They raised an eyebrow when I dropped the USB on their desk. "Please tell me this isn't malware." "I don't know," I said. "That's why I brought it to you." Sam scanned it in a sandboxed environment, watching code run across the screen. After a long minute, they exhaled. They cracked their knuckles. "Let's see what secrets Colin's hiding." The code scrolled like a waterfall. Strings of numbers, server IDs, time-stamped login records. And then, buried deep, one phrase that made us both lean closer. "CF Network Access Log Project Olympus." Sam looked at me. "That's your list. Can you get in?" "Not from here," It's double encrypted with a physical key. Meaning? Meaning we need something Colin physically owns: a USB token, a laptop, a hard drive. Without it, we're guessing passwords for centuries. So, we get it, I said. Sam gave me a look. You mean steal it? I didn't flinch. Borrow it. That night, Tessa called me reckless for even suggesting it. You're talking about breaking into his office, Nina. I'm talking about exposing the system that ruined me, and everyone else he's hurt. Do you hear yourself? This isn't advocacy anymore. This is obsession. Maybe, I said quietly. But if we stop now, he wins. Tessa groaned, pacing. Okay, hypothetically, how do you even get in? That's when I remembered something from my internship days. Every Friday, Colin held client dinners, the kind that always ended with too many martinis and a car service home. His office badge stayed in his jacket pocket, tossed somewhere on his chair until Monday. And that office? It was still in the same midtown building I walked out of weeks ago. Friday night, I said. We won't even need to break in. Just slip in after he leaves. Tessa rubbed her forehead. You're insane. Maybe, I said, but I'm also right. Friday came faster than I wanted. I dressed like someone who belonged there. Again, blazer, heels, the quiet armor of confidence. Tessa stayed in the car downstairs, keeping watch while Sam connected remotely through my phone. The lobby security guard barely looked up when I flashed an old visitor badge. Late night? He muttered. Always, I said, forcing a smile. The elevator ride to the 14th floor felt like a countdown. When the doors opened, I stepped into the same corridor where I'd once carried coffee and dreams in both hands. Now, I carried purpose. Colin's office door was ajar. His jacket was draped over the chair exactly as I remembered. My pulse thudded in my ears. Okay, I whispered to Sam through my Bluetooth mic. I'm in. Good. Look for a USB token, metallic, rectangular, maybe labeled key lock. I rifled through drawers, papers, folders, and then I saw it. A small, silver USB, tucked beside his laptop. Got it. Plug it in. We'll sync remotely. As I slid it into my laptop, the screen blinked, access confirmed. Sam's voice crackled in my ear. We're in. Downloading files now. You've got 5 minutes before their system flags a duplicate login. Copy. I stood guard, heart racing. Then I heard it, footsteps. Fast. Coming down the hall. I froze. Sam, I whispered. Someone's here. The footsteps stopped just outside the door. A pause. Then a voice I knew too well. Nina? Colin. I panicked. Yanked the USB free. My laptop screen went dark. Nina, I know you're in there. His tone wasn't angry. It was calm. Too calm. Let's not make this ugly, he said. You have no idea what you've just accessed. I didn't answer. I backed toward the window, laptop clutched to my chest. He pushed the door open slowly, like he was approaching a wounded animal. And the look on his face, part amusement, part pity, made my blood boil. You really think you're the hero here, don't you? He said softly. You think you can expose us? You think you even understand what we do? Then explain it, I shot back. What's Project Olympus? He smiled, just slightly. Insurance. And before I could ask what that meant, my laptop beeped. Sam's voice screamed in my ear. Nina, get out. They traced the signal, and then everything went black. When I came to, the first thing I registered was the hum. Low, electric, steady, the kind you feel in your teeth before you hear it in your ears. Then the lights, fluorescent, sharp, and then pain at the back of my neck, radiating outward. I tried to move. My wrists were tied. Not tight enough to cut circulation, but enough to tell me this wasn't a misunderstanding. Across the room sat Colin, calm, polished. Like we were back in that same conference room weeks ago, only this time, I wasn't sitting at the table. You scared me, Blake, he said, voice smooth as ever. Breaking into my office? That's a felony, you know. I blinked, trying to clear the fog. What? Where? Relax, he interrupted. You're safe. For now. He leaned forward. You shouldn't have touched Olympus. The word sent a jolt through my fogged brain. Project Olympus. What is it? He smiled. It's the reason people like me never fall. And people like you always do. He stood and began to pace, hands in his pockets, like this was a therapy session instead of a kidnapping. Do you know how PR really works, Nina? He asked. Not the fluff they teach you at NYU. The real kind. The kind that makes presidents, buries scandals, rewrites truth. I stayed silent. Olympus, he continued, is a network. A machine that filters reputation. We build narratives before they exist. We kill stories before they're born. You post something damaging? It's buried under paid content in 12 hours. You accuse someone powerful? Your credibility evaporates online. Every platform, every outlet, all curated, managed. My voice came out hoarse. You're describing propaganda, he grinned. I'm describing business. I wanted to tell him he was lying. But everything I'd lived since the day I reported him, the blacklisting, the smear campaign, the fake audio proved otherwise. He watched me, amused. You see, when you went public, you didn't just expose me, you exposed a system designed to protect itself. And now you've made them nervous. Who's them? Clients, partners, investors, the men who sign the checks and own the headlines. He crouched down beside me, voice dropping to a whisper. You think you're fighting one man. You're fighting the algorithm. I met his eyes. Then why tell me all this? Why not just finish what you started? He tilted his head. Because you're talented, Nina. You see angles. And I could use someone like you. The words hit me like a punch. You want me to work for you? He smiled. I want you to survive. He stood, moving toward a small table. Picked up my laptop, and turned the screen toward me. A document glowed on it. My Medium post. Edited, redlined, the truth rewritten line by line. You'll post this, he said. A retraction. You'll say you misunderstood. You'll say you overreacted. You'll apologize. And if I don't? He looked almost sad. Then Olympus will make sure you don't exist online. No job, no record, no voice. You'll be erased so quietly, you won't even hear it happen. The fear was real, but so was the fury. I forced a shaky laugh. You think that scares me? I've already lost everything because of you. Colin leaned closer, eyes cold. You haven't lost everything. Yet. And then he pulled out his phone and showed me a live feed Tessa, tied to a chair in what looked like a dark basement. My heart stopped. You touch her and I swear. He cut me off. Finish the retraction, and she walks free. Simple. I felt my pulse in my throat. He was bluffing. He had to be. But the terror in Tessa's eyes on that feed looked real. Suddenly, my phone on the table beside my laptop buzzed. A single vibration. Then silence. Colin didn't notice. He was pacing again, talking about damage control. I recognized the vibration pattern, a coded signal. Sam. They'd programmed a ping alert in case I ever went dark. It meant they were tracking my device. They knew. I looked at Colin. You want me to post it now? He nodded. Now. Then untie me. He hesitated, then sighed. But try anything, and your friend pays for it. He untied my wrists, leaving the rope draped across my lap like a threat. I cracked my knuckles, pretending to stretch. You ever think, maybe you overestimate your control, Colin? He smirked. You ever think maybe you overestimate your power? I opened the laptop. The cursor blinked on the draft he'd written. But I didn't hit publish. I hit a different key combination. 2 letters. S. O. Silent override Sam's signal for a forced data transfer. Every file, every word, every second of our conversation since I'd woken up, live streamed to Sam's encrypted cloud. Colin didn't notice. He was too busy monologuing. You'll see, Nina, he said. In a week you'll have your name back. A job. Peace. You'll thank me someday. Maybe, I said. Or maybe I'll just send this to every major outlet in the country. He frowned. What? Then my laptop pinged again. Loud. Colin's face drained of color. What did you do? I smiled, the first real smile in days. You're live. His phone buzzed again and again, notifications lighting up like fireworks. The stream had gone public. Thousands of people were watching the feed. His confession, Olympus, everything. "You think this will matter?" he hissed, lunging toward me. "They'll bury it. They'll bury you." I backed up, heart hammering. "Let's find out." He grabbed my arm, but before he could pull me back, the door behind him burst open. "Step away from her." Tessa bruised but alive, and behind her, two uniformed officers, guns drawn. Colin froze. I exhaled so hard my lungs burned. Tessa grinned weakly. "You really know how to pick a Friday night, Blake." Colin was arrested on the spot. The officers had been tipped off by Sam, who'd traced my phone's location and called the cops before the stream even began. Later, at the precinct, I sat wrapped in a blanket, replaying everything. Colin's confession had already gone viral. Major outlets were confirming the Olympus network tracing connections across PR firms, media contracts, political donors. It was bigger than we imagined, and I wasn't done yet. Because while the world was tearing apart Colin Fraser's empire, Sam found something else buried in the Olympus files, a list of accounts linked to an anonymous offshore fund labeled NYC Repute Control LLC, and under it, one familiar name, R. Kingwell. I frowned. "Who's that?" Sam looked uneasy. "He's not just anyone. He's the man funding Olympus, a PR legend, runs 3 firms, major political ties." I stared at the screen. "So, Colin was just a pawn?" "Yeah," Sam said quietly. "And the king just noticed you took one of his pieces." As I walked out of the precinct into the pale morning light, reporters shouted my name. But all I could think about was that new name on the list, the one above, Collins. If Olympus was real, Kingwell was the one sitting on top of the mountain. And now, he knew I existed. I looked up at the sunrise slicing between skyscrapers. The city looked the same, but I wasn't. I'd won one battle. The war was just beginning. The headlines came first. Then, the fallout. By Monday morning, Project Olympus was everywhere: front pages, live streams, podcasts dissecting every frame of Colin's confession. They called it the PR conspiracy that controlled New York. They called me the whistleblower intern, but I wasn't either of those things. I was just tired. Tessa and I sat on the apartment floor, surrounded by takeout boxes and glowing screens. Every channel showed the same footage: Colin being let out in handcuffs, executives resigning for personal reasons, agencies releasing carefully worded apologies. "It's surreal," Tessa said softly. "You actually did it." I shook my head. "We did it, but part of me couldn't celebrate. Because the man behind it all, R. Kingwell, was nowhere to be found. No arrests. No public statements. Just silence. And in this city, silence means someone powerful is moving pieces behind the curtain. A week later, Leah the journalist called me. "They're closing in," she said. "We found offshore transfers tied to Kingwell's firms. The DOJ is looking into it, but he's slippery." I asked, "You think he'll ever face trial?" Leah hesitated. "People like him don't go to court. They disappear. They rebrand." I could hear her typing in the background. "But what you did, Nina, it's changing things. Dozens of women are coming forward. Interns, assistants, even execs. It's a wave." I leaned back, staring at the skyline. "Then maybe that's enough." Later that night, a package arrived at my door. No return address. Inside, a sleek black folder. On the front, embossed in silver, "Kingwell and Partners." My heart skipped. Inside, a single page. Offer of employment. Public Integrity Initiative. Senior PR consultant. Salary: $180,000. Confidentiality required. And at the bottom, a handwritten note. "You've proven you understand power, Miss Blake. Let's use it together. RK." Tessa read over my shoulder. "Is this for real?" "Oh, it's real," I said, voice low. "It's an invitation back into the machine." She frowned. "You're not thinking of saying yes, are you?" I didn't answer. Not right away, because part of me, the ambitious, sharp-edged part that once wanted to belong, understood the temptation. To rebuild from the inside, to have access, influence, control. But another part of me knew that's how it starts. That's how they turn truth tellers into gatekeepers. I took a deep breath, then dropped the folder into the sink, lit a match, watched it burn. The flames curled the edges until the name Kingwell melted into nothing but ash. A week later, I met with Leah and Sam in a downtown coffee shop. The energy was different now, steady, purposeful. We were building something new, a small digital watchdog, collective part investigative, part PR reform. We called it Glassline Media, transparency through storytelling, Leah said, typing the tagline on our site. Poetic, huh? Sam grinned. You sure you're ready to poke the bear again? I smiled faintly. Let him roar. I'm not hiding anymore. That night, I walked alone through Times Square. The city buzzed, neon and noise, as if nothing had ever happened. But I knew better. Somewhere, men like Kingwell were already rewriting their playbooks, drafting new narratives, testing new ways to bury truth under glamour. But now, they knew there was someone out there watching, recording, ready to speak. I paused under a massive billboard advertising some new luxury brand. Below it, someone had spray painted in black, "Be loud, Blake." I couldn't help it, I laughed. The kind of laugh that tastes like freedom. The camera would fade out here, if this were a film. The music would rise, and somewhere in the background, you'd hear my voice say, "They taught me that reputation is everything." They were right. Only this time, I'm the one writing it. Fade to black.